so it should go. Well, that's because it's not live yet, I guess. I guess it is going to wait the 5 minutes. That's okay. Because I'm not going to adjust anything.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, is it published now?
It is.
Does it show the hat and stuff?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Does it sound like it's actually coming through the... Well, I don't... Can you hear that?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. This is the Nerdy Old Men Podcast. This is the Nerdy Old Men Podcast, recognized by City View Magazine as best of the best in podcasts. And here are your hosts, the Old Bald Man Chad and Redneck Wes. Good morning, Wes.
Hey, we're back.
You look so confused over there.
Yeah, it's like too many buttons.
Running a little behind this morning, so we didn't have everything set up just right. Wes had to go to the doctor to verify he was still alive.
And
He is, in fact, still alive. Why do you not have the thing muted?
I thought it was muted. You're the one that came over here and hit the button. I don't know.
There we go. Now we're good. Quit screwing with stuff.
You'd think we were highly trained
We're
professionals,
not.
but we're
so,
not.
No. Hey, everybody. We're back. We had a couple weeks there where we couldn't make it because life, lifing, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, but here we are. We're excited to be back. And, so what's been going on, dude? Here we go. I'll just go ahead and do it.
I know.
Before you even start.
Why do I even do this show? Honestly, jeez. No, I wanted to give a shout out to our buddy Pat over at Brick House.
Yes.
He had his convention this past weekend.
Brickonomicon.
Yes. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go,
neither
but
was I. Hopefully next year we can go as a show of Hill. He asked us to come. We weren't able to come.
yeah,
Hopefully next year
I already
we'll
had some
go.
prior commitments I had
Yeah.
to attend to. But apparently it went well.
Yep.
So congratulations to him. I can't wait until next year. It's even bigger and better.
Yep.
So
shout out to Pat at Brick House Collectibles. You need to go and check out Brick House Collectibles. It's a fantastic store. If you haven't heard of it, what's wrong with your
yeah, if
life?
you've listened to this show, you know about
Go
it.
back to this show and give a shout out to him about that stuff. I did want, and I thought about something this morning because I went and dropped my son off at school and I was wearing a Toll Guard T-shirt.
Yes.
And we hadn't mentioned Toll Guard in a while, so
yes.
they're big buddies of ours up in Pigeon Forge and
Silver, North
Silver,
Carolina.
North Carolina.
So it's hoping not talk to them. I need to.
Yeah, I need to reach out to them, see how they're doing.
Everything's it's been, if you've not heard,
The hurricane washed everything away. Seems like
Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee got hit hard.
Yeah.
So
we were lucky where we are because
Yes.
we're not really prone to floods. So that's a good thing. But
hope they're doing well.
yeah, I hope they're doing well. So make sure you check those guys out. Our table today, well, we got some things here, obviously the hat, but this is one of my new projects. If you're listening to audio, I'll just kind of describe it.
Chad has turned into a painting machine.
I love to print and paint statues and stuff through CA3D Studios, not a sponsor, but I would love to be sponsored by them because they're great.
He's got some sick models.
This is Hades and Cerberus from Greek mythology, and now that completes all three of the big gods of Greek mythology that I have, the three brothers. So I was happy with that. Wicked cool. After painting Cerberus, I thought I probably should have named my dog Toby Cerberus because he's a crazy hellhound. Boston Terrier,
But he's
Tasmanian
sweet,
Devil.
so.
He's great. A couple other things we wanted to highlight again. Our good buddy Kyle Hanna from Jumpmaster Press and his book Time Assassins, which is a really clever semi-sci-fi type alternate history book. Super fun. And your buddy, our buddy, Dan
Gottlieb, and that's his first book, I Am Omega, Beginning of the End. You can get that Amazon.
Yep. Same thing with Kyle. You can get his at. I know you can get it at Jumpmaster Press.
Yes, you can get it at Jumpmaster Press. But some really good friends of ours creating some really good art, literature,
absolutely,
other things. And shout out Junior over at Angry Lemonade.
Yep.
He's actually one that made the hats for us.
The hats, yep.
So you can check him out in Angry Lemonade.
And if you can see Wes's shirt over there. He got that from our Teespring store with our Master of the Universe style logo on it.
Our buddy Tim Rucker,
that Tim Rucker created. So be sure you don't forget we have that there. They adjust our prices sometimes, and I go back and readjust them. So because they'll bump them up and we bump them back down again because we don't make a profit off of it. It's
more just to get stuff out.
So if you want a sweatshirt since it's getting cold. You got that logo. I think we have an original logo on there, too.
I just thought that was neat.
Yeah, it looks good on that. Great.
It's a really comfy sweatshirt, really soft.
Yeah, they make some good stuff.
I'm hoping to get to hang on to this one because my wife, anytime I get like comfy T-shirts or sweatshirts, stuff like that, she ends up with them. Yeah. So hopefully I'll get to hang on to this one for this winter.
Yeah. But
you can check out our Teespring store if you want to get your hands on merch and get it shipped out to you.
The link is always in our description of our episode, so on the audio version of it. So anyway, man,
I'm trying to figure out how to do that on the YouTubes.
We're Wes. Patience. We're lucky to be able to do what we're doing.
Right?
Tell me some slack. Last episode you might have noticed that if you watched it on YouTube, the audio was a little weird and you didn't get none of the cool sound effects or music. That's because when I use this camera for recording baseball games, streaming my son's baseball games, I have to use its microphone. Well, if I forget to turn its microphone off and the iPad one on, all you get is its microphone.
Yes.
So you could hear us talking, you just couldn't hear all the good sound effects and our amazing royalty-free intro and extra music.
Yes. So sorry about that, but
Yeah, well, what do you do? So
like I said, we're semi-trained unprofessionals.
That's absolutely right. So let's see, what have I been doing other than painting things? Not a lot. I'm getting into and wanting to do some vignettes for some of my World War II models, small ones. My wife bought me some small canvases.
Okay.
And so you can build the vignette on the small canvas, which is pretty cool.
And is it like the art canvas, just
little canvases, yeah.
Okay.
This little, wood frame and stuff like that. So like, I've got a one right here that's pretty much too small to show on the video, but it's a anti-tank gun from World War II, and it's got the German crew with it.
You just gluing everything to the.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, but build the terrain.
Yes.
And I'd like to maybe do a hedgerow with it beside it and stuff. And I actually was able to. That Tamiya kit, and I love Tamiya model kits, but the rifles on this kit, I guess it's older or whatever, doesn't have a sling. So what I did was I got some scrap PLA from something I'd printed on my PLA printer and smashed it flat and cut it, painted it, warmed it up a little bit, and wrapped it around for the slings. And it looks just, I painted it with like a leather brown, and it looks just like a sling. So that's pretty cool, man. And that particular model's got empty shell casings and live shells that you can just lay around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a
very detailed.
And that kit was like $8 or something because it's so
small.
Kit, yeah. So between statues and those, I've been bouncing back and forth. So it's pretty awesome. Played a little bit of Legion. Ryan Slowoski from the Stabcast beat me the other day. Still have not grasped exactly how I want to play the new thing. And then Meat Shield J played him a very close game, and he beat me also. So I'm definitely on a losing streak with that.
Wow, he's not going to let you live that down at D&D.
No, that's okay though. We'll, he's still not the master, the dungeon master.
Well, it's funny because he'd sent me a message.
His games with Jason,
the games with Peace that he's been doing. Now you got to realize that if you're new to the show and you're just listening, you're like, well, who is Meat Shield J? Meat Shield J is Chad's younger brother.
Yeah,
and he started playing with us and has learned a lot.
He has, yes,
about D&D, and he had some friends that wanted to get into playing, so. Jay being the experienced player, he said, well, I don't know enough to run it, but I know someone that does. So he got our buddy Peace to run it. And Peace is evil. He is a sneaky DM.
Incredible guy.
Yes. Great
Absolutely,
guy.
Dude would do anything for you. Toughest man I've ever met.
But if you give him some dice.
He's evil when it comes to dice. It's straight up pure evil.
And so Jay has just told me, some of the misadventures that they've had. And he said, well, I'm going to play a paladin. He said, can I kind of base him off yours? And I'm like, yeah, because in the lore that we had, I had a training academy.
Yeah.
So he wanted to be a Silver Dragon Knight of Rightfall. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Apparently, he's like a murder hobo. Because he's like, every time I try to talk to somebody, they die. I'm like, what are you doing over there?
But he's not the one that's killing them. It's everybody else.
I guess, but it's like he tries to like negotiate and talk and actually, I guess, play.
Mm-hmm.
And just he's like, every time I talk to somebody, they die. So I don't know, but he's having a lot of fun with his friends, which is great because that's what we would do.
He's spreading it,
So. Shout out to him. Meat Shield J for trying to do
So
the
I'm
right
hoping
thing.
he's taken some of our Generation X D&D style of play and presenting it to his millennial friends.
The DG logic?
Yeah. Because that will mess with them.
Yes.
I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. Wes, we're recording. Turn your phone down.
I know people keep, like I heard R2 and I'm like, wait a minute, somebody's texting me here. But it's funny because he'll ask me stuff, or he'll say, "This was the situation we're in."
Yeah,
and I'm just like, "Oh, dude,
it's coming."
Well, and it's funny because this past weekend, I actually played for the first time, surprisingly, Call of Cthulhu.
That's what I wanted to hear about. We talked a little bit about it pre-show. Yes. I'm like, just stop talking because I want to hear this.
Shut up! I want to hear.
I've never played it. It is a very classic. Super classic.
I don't know
game.
What happened. The computer just like went off.
Well, move the mouse or something.
No, I mean it like shut down.
Oh, okay. Well, hand it over to me while you tell the story, and I'll fix it.
Okay. Well, as we're having technical difficulties.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Tell us about.
But
Cthulhu.
anyway, so this was a new experience for me because I'd never played this. Didn't know anything about it. It reminds me a lot of Dark Conspiracy.
I like Dark Conspiracy.
I like Dark Con.
If any of you guys have ever played or girls have ever played Dark Conspiracy, give us a comment
Please
somewhere because that was one of our favorites.
The only people in our group were the only people I ever knew that played Dark Con.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that ever heard of it other than us.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. And Call of Cthulhu is very similar, where you've got like ability stores, and you've got your main ability score that is like a pass, kind of like a saving throw, but you've got like a hard save and like an extreme save or pass, I think is how they call it. And it's wild because you're rolling. Everything is based off a D100 roll, so you can break out the percentile dice, or if you had a golf ball like what we did, which would make things interesting from time to time. Because you're like, what is it, an 86? Is it a 32?
And where you put the golf ball.
Yes. That's a story for another day.
Another day, yeah.
But we were rolling, and Tyler had a great story set up. Shout out to him. And he had pre-made characters, so we rolled for characters, although I think the rolls were a little rigged. But so we had the jock, which that's what I got to play.
Yeah.
We had the stoner kid. We had the class president.
Yeah.
We had our computer hacker. We had our nerd, and then we had like our just average guy.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because Tyler's like, you come up with a name, backstory,
the whole thing. Yeah.
But we had the stats already in front of us. So I'm like, okay, we're set in Peoria, Illinois. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Fair enough. Seems like a good place for great evil to attack.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
But we're in college. We had it set in 1999, which was hilarious because I got to thinking about it and I was like, okay, my character is 22 years old in 1999. I'm like, I was 22 years old in 1999. And they're looking stuff up, and I'm going, I lived this.
This happened. I was there when it all began.
Pretty much. So it was funny because they're like looking stuff up.
I was like, I can tell you that because I was there.
But was playing with Cosplay Cody, Die Hard Derek.
Yeah.
Been on the show before. My buddy John, his brother Josh, Tyler ran it, and then Sutton was a friend of theirs. I didn't really know him well, but we had a blast playing. He actually became the hero in a way, but Tyler had it set up like a movie.
Okay.
So it was kind of have very like Saw, with like some of the traps and stuff.
They're horror guys. They're horror folks anyway,
Well,
and it's a horror game.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for those dudes.
So it really helped me just being kind of like, okay, I'm jock, and I'm just a meathead. But I'm like, okay, getting to pick. I said, do I get to pick sports or anything? He goes, yeah, you can do whatever. And I said, okay, I'll be a football player because I played football. I was like, I'll make him a linebacker. I said, I want him to be a big guy. And he's like, because apparently things like, like your size and your weight stuff play into the game, because like if you got to go somewhere and you're too big to go through like the, like the air vent or whatever, you're stuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I'll play with that. And it was so funny because I'm like, okay, I need him to be from somewhere. They've had to go out and get him. So I'm like, I'll make him from Texas.
I thought it was going to be Maynardville, Tennessee.
No. I made him from Texas. And I'm like, okay, I need like a nickname, because everybody's got a nickname, because we grew up and everybody had nicknames and stuff. Right. So I was like, I need a nickname. I was like, well, okay, the guy's big. I'm like, Tank. Man, that's a good nickname for a linebacker. I said, Tank Thompson. I said, okay, I said, Bo Tank Thompson. There we go.
There you go.
So, Tyler's asking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Bo Tank Thompson. I said, everybody calls me Tank. And that started a thing because everybody ended up getting a nickname off that. Cody was our class president at the university, so he became Prez. John was our hacker, so he became serial killer.
Because that makes sense.
Well, if you've seen the movie Hackers, all that. So Fruit Loops. Derek was our stoner, and I don't remember. He was actually playing. The way it worked out, Tyler made it where it was a character from another Call of Cthulhu game that they had done.
Okay.
So it's kind of like he's just
bringing it. That's cool. Yeah,
I like that. Sutton was like our nerd, and what was fun about it, he's like, yeah, I don't like getting out of my comfort zone, and I probably don't go anywhere, so this is probably my hometown. So he became hometown.
Oh, okay.
And then Josh was just our Joe average, just very mid on everything, so he became mid.
That's fine.
Because that was like
that's the hip new word, right? Mid.
Well, I don't know, but it was like the most lame. Like if you're just average on everything and just generic, mid.
I got you.
So, but we go through, and it's set in 1999. It's like December 30th, so we're having a end of the world party because everybody thought Y2K was going to end the world. And as the adventure goes on, it kind of plays out like Saw a little bit, where we end up in some situations where there's traps and stuff. But the thing that got everybody, and the reason I said that Sutton was that hometown was
become
the
a hero.
Yeah, he's in like the chair, and he's got a cuff on each arm and one around his neck. And there's three of us.
Sounds like a hell of a party.
Yeah, well, there's three of us. We're strapped to like gurneys on the wall there.
Okay.
And we've been injected with a virus. And on the table, there's like 6 antidotes, and you've got to pick the correct one.
Okay.
You've got it because it would release. He could put it in this gun and fire it, and if it was the correct one, it would cure us. If it was incorrect, we would die. Or he could.
You chose wisely.
He could choose to not do nothing and like it explode and blow his hand off. And same for this one. We didn't know about this.
Oh.
And so he's like legit like worried because I don't want to kill anybody's character, but I don't want to die. And we're like, well, we're out cold. We can't really say anything, but do it, man. Because this is gonna be like a hero or zero,
Yeah.
And so he's he does the thing, but Tyler had this bag and he had 3 red poker chips and 3 blue poker chips in this bag. He says, pull one out, hand it to him, but don't look. So we're like, okay, we'll do it under the table.
Yeah.
So that it's legit. So he goes, Derek's first. Derek's holding it. He gives me one. I'm holding it. And so we're all, you got Josh, we're all 3 just like, okay, here goes. So 1, 2, 3, and we all turn. They're all blue. So he saved us all.
Total luck.
Yeah. Well, what was funny was Tyler's like, did I screw up? And so he dumps the bag on the table.
Yeah.
There's 3 red ones in the bag.
No joke.
And our boy Hometown's just like, there was twice in there where I grabbed 2 chips at the same time, like just trying to pick them up, and he was 2, and he said, I had to drop one. So
that's fun.
So it was
that's an intense gameplay.
Oh, it really is, because you can die at any point in like all the decisions you make, there are consequences for every action.
So I don't know anything about the game. What did you learn about the premise of Call of Cthulhu with playing this one session?
It's
I know it's a horror-based RPG.
Yeah, based RPG. And depending on how you play out the story, like you can enter more into like the Cthulhu mythos, like going into stranger and weirder things happening. We kind of stayed more to where it's a guy, he's conducting experiments. There's a guy that's chasing, because we hit him with 2 Molotov cocktails and it did not phase him. And we're like, oh crap. But there was traps set up because like at first we're in like our cabin, just hanging out, having a good time. And you see the guy standing out by the car. So, I'm like, oh, I'll grab a fire poker. I'm going to go out because, I'm a big dude. He's a big dude, And Tyler's like, well, are you stepping off the porch? Like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to go down and be like, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
And stepped on the last step and it's booby trapped.
Oh.
So.
He set you up.
And the thing is, you only got 10 hit points.
Oh.
So, I took like a point of damage there.
Which is neat because this is like normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like there's a thing called like sanity.
Okay.
And
which we don't have on the show.
Yeah, we don't. But like if things happen, like extreme things happen, in real life, it can really kind of shake you. Well, it affects you in the game. Like cool. There's certain, like your mind, and you have luck. So like if you roll and say you need to roll like 50 and you roll, a 53, if you want to spend 3 luck points and kind of get it down to 50 so you can pass the roll,
right?
You can do that, but you only got so many luck points. So you run out of luck, you're just out of luck.
Does any of this stuff regenerate?
I know Derek was able to use some of his special herbs to help Cody regain some sanity.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like you kind of got to pick like your loadout, like what you had on you. We I know Derek had John had his Gateway computer.
Fantastic.
You know, the black and white cow.
Yes, the cow computer. If you don't know what that is, you're too young to listen to this show.
He had a big brick laptop, you know.
I love that.
But basically did the whole John Connor from Terminator 2 where he's got the little hacker. He breaks into an ATM. He like literally, and Tyler Rowland, he goes, okay, you can steal up to $500. He goes, I'm going to take $450 out. When 1999 money, that's
a lot of money.
You know, that's like probably $1,200.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And so like we were in the gas station getting supplies, you know, going up.
You buy a lot of $20 D&D.
Well, John does not like odd numbers, so his character, he had like some ticks and stuff on his character. It was great,
so great.
But so what started it off, because Sutton even said to me, he goes, I figured your character would like pick on mine because you're the jock, I'm the nerd, you know. And he goes like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And Tyler, you know, he had like the lights, you know, we had the windows blacked out, he had the music going. I mean, it was really kind of this whole vibe.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we had a minivan that it was Cody's dad's, you know. So Cody's doing the whole, don't, you know.
Don't mess up the
Derek's
van.
in the back,
doing
his thing. And, you know, I'm fussing at him because I'm like, hey, man, they test for stuff like that. You're going to cause me what's And we're all just kind of talking over each other, kind of like Chad and I do on the show a lot.
Fantastic. Yeah.
But on the music, Smells Like Teen Spirit comes on.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's talking, and I just go, shut up, I like this song. And Sutton was like, okay, I knew at that point how we were going to play this.
Yes.
Everybody, we were in character more so than what we do when we play D&D.
Yeah.
You know, we were a little more, because Tyler's a little more, you know, he kind of gave us a little bit of a pass, the guys that hadn't played before.
Yeah.
Because he's really like, if you say it, it's going to happen.
Well, Cthulhu is less, I mean, I don't know much about it, but I think it's less tactical and more cerebral.
It's both, actually, because you can't just go in there hacking and slashing and then yell medic and have the cleric come and heal you.
I'm following,
So, like, you kind of got to be strategic about, like, because, like, when I stepped on the trap, it was... had a piano wire basically around my leg, and there was like spikes on the bottom step, you know, so like I've got that in my foot.
Ow.
He's like, what are you wearing? I'm like, oh, I got cowboy boots, you know, so luckily for that. But I'm like, I'm going to take the fire poker and try to break the piano wire, you know, so I do that. And then it's like, okay.
Ow.
Was not expecting that right off the bat. So you kind of had to play it a little more, which we all stayed pretty well in character, like, because it was a lot of, well, this is what my character would do, which I know we say that a lot in D&D, and it's, you know, the murder hobo. Well, it's what my character would do, you know, going around killing everybody. It was more like my guy, because he was the biggest and the strongest in the group, I would kind of take, you know, but I would kind of be protecting the ones that, you know, were weaker but could do other things. Because, like, we found in the cabin, like, there was, you know, the video cameras, you know. Well, John's like, I'm going to cut the wire and I'm going to try to hack into it. And he's like, okay, it's going to take you like 10 minutes of just pure concentration. He's like, don't bother me. And he literally like went in doing the whole hacker thing. If you've seen the movie Hackers, you know what I'm talking about. It was that vibe that John was playing.
Yeah.
And, but Cody the whole time was doing the whole, oh God, my dad's going to kill me, you know, because the car, you know.
So what was the premise? I mean, I guess this is like low level or something like that. And
this was we were doing a one shot,
and it's just weird stuff that happens.
Well, we go out to the cabin, and
because Cthulhu is like a big demon monster kind of thing.
He's like
right?
the
like
old one,
the big bad.
Yeah, he's like the old one in D&D.
Okay, yeah,
and so we get to the cabin, and at one point there had been like a mental institution on the property.
Excellent. Always good.
And it
always a good thing.
It had closed down, and they had they were helping people kind of transition back into society. So they had like cabins set up, and when the institution closed down, they kind of turned it into just like cabin rentals. And
Lakeshore Park, it sounds like.
that was what I said.
As soon as you started describing it, I was thinking about Lakeshore Park. That's now like soccer fields and stuff.
Talking about that was the first thing that came to my mind. And it's like you kind of go through the mysteries of like we were just kind of at the cabin partying, you know. Mm-hmm. We all passed out, even though some weren't drinking or doing anything. And then it's like, you know, we see the figure, go outside, find out the steps trap. Everybody kind of retreats back in because we're like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on.
While you're limping.
And then, well, Sutton actually, he was smart. He bought a first aid kit at the gas station over there. So he patched me up.
Nice.
Yeah. But we get in there, and then the TV starts playing like videos, and this voice comes on. It's like, you know, in 30 minutes, the cabin is not safe, you know, and it's like, I want to conduct an experiment kind of thing. So we're like, who is this? What's going on?
Yeah.
And something that I found out after the fact, because Tyler had run this was like the third or fourth time he had run this story.
Okay.
And everybody kind of played it different, you know, because they had some, it was set in the 80s, I think, maybe the 2000s, and then like the 60s or something. Mm-hmm. And because we just voted and we're like, you know, let's do it in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And the images that he was describing that were popping up on the screen mm-hmm. were things that had happened in the other adventures that he had run. So he tied it all together.
That's really smart.
So like this had been going on since like the 50s.
Oh, that's so smart.
So this has been going on for like 40 years at this point.
Yeah.
But like things, you know, there's one where it shows the big dude, like it shows people like barricading the door. Mm-hmm. It shows the big guy like busting through the door and mm-hmm. literally just grabbing one of them by the neck, snapping their neck. He said a player did that, tried to like reason with him, like, you know, we didn't, you know, you had some that tried to stand and fight and they died and, you know, run in different places and stuff. And our whole thing, we're like, let's get out of here. Like we did like everything like the logical way. It's like, yeah, let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
You know,
don't stick around.
But it was really a fun adventure that Tyler had put together for us. A lot of it was, you get in these situations, it's like, what do you do? Because there was one where literally it's like something like I saw, like there's a guy in a room and he's like, because we saw him and his kids earlier, it's him and his two kids, and they're playing like wiffle ball out in the yard.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
They were staying at like cabin number 2, and we were staying at cabin 5. So as we drive by, we see them out playing. Well, Cody sees the same guy. He's in this room, you know, and there's a window, and you can see like, it's basically like a crematorium. It's like just the little, you know.
This is on the TV?
No, this is in after we had gotten captured.
I got you.
I'm kind of skipping around.
No, I got you.
But there was a lever, and if Cody like held onto the lever, it kept the burners from heating up in the room that guy. Well, Cody has got like chains they're like hooked into the meat in his arm and in his back of his leg and his ankles and stuff.
Making it difficult.
Well, it's pulling on him.
Yeah. Oh,
so he's, as long as he's holding on to that, it's pulling. Well, when he stops, it's still pulling, but it's not hurting him.
Yeah.
And so he's going through this whole, he's trying to keep this guy alive, trying to figure out what's going on. The guy's holding up a thing. He's like, you know, I've got 3 kids, blah, 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 you know, and like it's ripping.
Dude, that's crazy.
So like Cody got messed up pretty bad.
Yeah. In
this. But there was a thing when the guy said, I've got 3 kids. And me and Sutton looked at each other and we're like, he only had 2. And so like we, you know, there's this whole mystery thing. But the way Tyler's telling the story, it's like if you were watching a movie.
Yeah.
Like if we weren't there, we weren't part of what was going on. But he's like, you know, I don't like having people like leave the room, come back in, it kind of breaks. Mm-hmm. But he's like, you guys just kind of sit there and just like, we're watching, like, well, what's happening? Mm-hmm. And it was a really good story thing because it was described well enough that you could visualize in your mind's eye what was happening without like metagaming, you know, because like we metagame when we play D&D.
Yeah, we're played it for so long, you kind of know what's going on.
But a lot of times I can look at you and I'm like, Chad's fixing to do something. Okay. There was times we had no clue what anybody was going to do.
Yeah.
And so once we kind of get everybody rescued and back together again, we're like, let's get out of here. And so we try to make our way back to the welcome center because we knew there's a truck there. And so, like Cody's messed up. He can't walk. So I'm literally carrying him, running down there to the guy. We see the guy at the top of the hill. Here he comes. And we get in there, and it's like the guy that's conducting the experiments has got the keys. And he goes, I can give you the keys. You can leave, be left alone. I'll continue doing what I'm doing. You can kill me, take the keys. There'll be, repercussions. And it's kind of like, what do you do? And so literally there's the 6 of us, and it's like everybody's kind of talking. It's like, we got to make a call, and it's literally, thumbs up, thumbs down. And that was the whole thought experiment was, what would you do? Do you let the guy
continue to do what he's doing
and he leaves you alone? And because, we all kind of got like 10 seconds to kind of ask like a question or something. And the first one was asked was, why are you doing this? He goes, I just want to see if people evolve. Like just, and, the whole why us, you were there. Mm-hmm. There was no rhyme or reason. It was just, and we had found we'd found Barney Fife's gun. Had 1 bullet. It was a revolver with 1 bullet. And of course, I've got it, and the dude's sitting there talking, and I'm like, everybody's trying to figure out, like, thumbs up, thumbs down. Everybody's making their votes and stuff, and it gets to me, and I'm like, sorry, guys, throw the pistol down, and literally tackled the dude.
Yeah.
But I hit him as hard. I said, I'm going to hit him as hard as I possibly can.
You piece hitted him.
Oh, dude. It was a flat back among flatbacks. In the little group chat that we had, everybody's showing stuff from like the water boy or like these crazy college hits and stuff. Like people get, hey, no, what? It was literally like that, and like just killed it because he's like, I don't know, he was like 68-year-old like doctor or something. I mean, I just bam, let's get out of here, and so it's like literally get everybody in the. It was a Ford Ranger.
Yeah, buddy.
It may have been an F-150, but it sounds funnier if it was Ford Ranger. But literally, like, we take off. Like, I'm driving because I had the best driving skill.
All right. Okay.
And we come up to the gate, ram the gate, keep going through. But see, we'd found out during the story that they were doing experiments over at the. They'd found something archaic underneath the hospital.
Right.
So they were doing experiments, and people were changing, and so we assume that's where the guy got his power. Where
that obviously would never occur in reality.
Yes, well.
Anyway,
but we found out that there were more patients that had been experimented on,
right? And
they all had like different abilities, powers. And
you're at the evil X-Men.
Oh, dude, it was nuts. But we, as we're driving down the road, there's another one, kind of like the big guy, and she pulls out like a couple of scythes and hits the truck, and then we've all literally got to roll to see if we survive the wreck. And then when everybody's kind of coming to, it's the beginning of the movie that Tyler was telling, because he was telling this big description of this car wreck and stuff. Well, I completely forgot about it because I got so wrapped up in
the other story,
in what we were doing, that it's us, and we were trying to get away. And
that's cool.
But we'd all survived. He said, you all actually survived because we all rolled well enough to make it. But like he had done some, I think they had 6 and only 2 survived. And,
wow.
So he was like,
that's
cool, he's like, so apparently running away was the correct answer in all this.
That really does remind me a lot of like Dark Conspiracy.
It really does. That was the first thing that hit me. I was like, because I didn't know what to expect playing Cthulhu, and I was like, it's enough like Dark Con that I kind of have an idea of how it's going to.
Well, and those folks are really big into horror stuff.
Yes,
and so he's probably really good at telling that story.
But I mean, he had you invested into it.
Yeah.
But he said the only thing that I was worried about, because like because Tyler did like some of the voices. Philip, one of the characters, he's like, "Well, hey y'all," and just, I mean, we had fun with Philip, because he was an interesting character. But he made it really entertaining. And the fact that everybody was enough in character, and was doing things that the way their character would do it.
That's fun. That's fun.
We had a really good time, but it has been set up for a sequel.
Oh boy!
So
we're like post the car wreck, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be like a few years after, because like we were already because we were over at Cody's. I think I got there at 8:30. We started around 9. We played till I think 3.
Oh jeez.
And then sit around for like another 2 hours, like just kind of talking about like what could happen, what we think is going to happen, like what was.
Yeah.
We really got into it, and so we're looking to do another adventure with the same characters, but maybe set a few years after all this. To kind of,
that's really cool, man.
The second
movie,
the sequel movie. But yeah, it was fun. It was funny because Tyler said, he goes, some of the stuff I was worried about because I didn't know if you would see through it, and just having as much experience playing RPGs like this, having run stuff similar, not exactly the same, but similar to Call of Cthulhu. He's like, I was afraid that you would kind of see things coming before. I said, well, some things I did. I wanted to see how it was going to go.
Right.
Because you didn't want to say, okay, guys, don't do this because this is going to,
Right.
Didn't want to ruin it for anybody else. But he told such a good story that it, I kind of stepped out of that overanalyzing and was in the moment.
Yeah.
Because like when we did the poker chip reveal.
That's pretty cool.
That was all in the moment.
Cool. Yeah.
And we were like, God, man, that would have been so cool to film because nobody's going to believe that it happened that way, but nobody.
But then when he dumped the chips,
because he honestly thinks
that really pushed the.
He goes, did I mess up and put like 6 blue ones in?
Yeah.
But the fact that Sutton had picked up 2 chips at the same time and dropped the red one both times.
That's funny.
I mean, you could sit down and figure out the math on it.
Oh, that's crazy.
But it was all.
But just dumping the chips helped to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't intentional. He didn't intentionally do it, but it didn't help.
But everybody
sell
just,
the intensity of the
moment. We're like, because I even told Sutton, I said, if we die, we die.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's nothing you can do, man. You're in a no-win situation, and it was rigged. Both wrists were rigged to explode. The neck collar was not.
It was just a mess with you.
It was just a mess with you.
That's cool.
And but the whole thing was leading up to the point where we catch where we meet the main guy that's doing the experiments, and it's what do we do? That was the whole.
The whole premise of it, yeah.
But the funny thing was when he said the medical examiner was like, "Man, this guy looks like he got run over by a tank." We all had a good laugh at that.
That's cool, man.
But it was
a different type of experience.
It was different. It was fun. I don't know a lot about any of the history of Cthulhu and in that world.
No, I don't either. It's always been around,
but the mechanics of it is very simple to pick up. I mean, there was 3 of us that had never played.
So more of a storytelling type.
It really is, right. But it was like we were going to stop at the convenience store and get supply, because literally it was. I don't know how the stoner got in charge of food, but he had Derek.
It was the munchies.
Well, it wasn't so much that. It was just like we were talking, and I think Derek even said, he goes, well, how y'all do it? And, and Tyler had to roll to see, like, what supplies we had in the cooler in the back of the van.
That's cool.
And I think Derek rolled pretty mid on that, so it was, well, let's stop, and, we'll get ice and beer and... but Derek was hilarious because he was like, he came up with a list and he was like, I want some Orbeez, like some Gusher. Like he's like pulling like 90s stuff that you can't get anymore.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Tyler had a list, and we were going through it, but he goes, I was not expecting like the interaction at the gas station because we stayed in there long enough, and I don't know if he had this written in as a story point or if it was just something he came up with on the fly. But like, he had a girl come in and like Sutton sitting there. You know, he's our little nerd guy, and he's like, well, is she a pretty girl? And I go, what she look like? And he goes, okay, I just rolled this and it's a 9. So yeah, she's a 9, you know, and like starts talking to him. So like we just ran with it where we were. Sutton ends up getting her number, you know, and like we were going to call him to have him come hang out with us, you know, and I think later on we found out that she had actually been captured by these guys, and you know,
if it's in the D&D world, she's a succubus.
Well, that was what that was where my mind went. I was like, she's the bad guy.
As soon as you said it, that's what I thought.
Yeah, she's the bad guy. Yes. You know, but we did get a post-credit scene where, yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, it was we were sitting around talking, and it was like literally we're like, you know, we've got some unanswered questions, you know, that, and John pulled up a random die generator on his phone.
Yeah.
And I actually rolled low enough to where and it was something stupid, and he was just, holy smokes, because we were rolling on a D100, and I don't know, I rolled like a 9 or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so, you know, the guy that I ran over, the doctor that was doing the experiments, was not the actual guy doing it. He was the guy that could project like images and make you think he was somebody else, could sound like somebody else. So actually I took him out instead of the main guy that was over it. Because there was like,
because why would he sacrifice himself?
Well, there was like 6 experiments, right? You know, and he was one of the 6. So Tyler still got a lot of story that he can work with.
That's really
still
cool,
a lot of meat
man.
on the bone for that.
That kind of sounds like a sort of like Dark Conspiracy, but kind of like a hybrid now of like Stranger Things, traditional horror movies, and like X-Files. And it's kind of, it feels like that sort of from what
I
you
would
described.
agree. And knowing Tyler, you know, he likes stuff like that. So I'm sure he pulled from different sources to make the story that he did. But it was really entertaining. And like I said, the mechanics of the game were easy to pick up. I mean, everything's based off a D100 roll. The lower you roll, the better.
Which is unusual.
Yeah.
From what we're used to.
Yeah, we're used to higher is better. But it's more like a percentile chance of pass-fail. So if you've got higher scores, you have a better chance of
failing.
Of passing.
Well, higher. Oh, I got you.
If you know, my strength was a 70.
Okay.
And he said the highest you could go was 90.
So if you exceeded 70, then that's bad.
If
you exceeded your strength, your ability to.
Well, you just
whatever.
Yeah,
right?
you weren't able to.
I see. So you're rolling within the within the ability score, not
01 is the best you can roll.
I got you.
000 is the worst you can roll
because that's 100.
So, but you had different things, and it was a pre-made character that Tyler had done. You can go in and once you get your points, you could put them however you wanted. But like you could pick hobbies and stuff.
They could aid you in the story.
Yes, because and Josh was the mid-average guy, but like he was into like kung fu movies. So he had like some nunchucks with him, but he didn't know if they were real. You know, the guy at Crystal Vision said these are real nunchucks. They have a
Crystal Vision.
They have a dragon on them. Yes. It has a dragon on it, so these are real nunchucks.
If you know what he's talking about when he's referring to Crystal Vision, Crystal Visions,
yes,
leave a comment because that means you're special.
Yes,
in a good way.
But you know how you go to the flea market and the guys get like all the swords and knives.
This is real stuff.
Yeah, and so he had nunchucks, but he thought they were real.
Yeah.
Now whether they actually were real, you know, he didn't know how to use them. It's kind of like
there were sticks with chains in the middle. So
well,
that is pretty much a nunchuck.
Because I think a nunchuck did, if you were trained with them, did 1d8 damage. You know, if you're untrained, I think you may give him a d6 or something. I can't remember. But really, you didn't need a lot of dice. If you had a d4, a d6, a d8, and 2 d10s,
So there's no 20s in this.
No.
Okay.
Unless there's one that I don't know about, but
that's awesome.
It was something literally we had, because there was 3 of us that had never played, and within 45 minutes Tyler had gone over everything, kind of explained how it all works, and we felt comfortable enough that we can do this. And like I said, it was very similar to Dark Conspiracy. So, for me it was just kind of like, okay, the hardest part was finding stuff on the sheet.
Yeah, just because you're unfamiliar.
Because I'm unfamiliar with the sheet. But if you're interested in tabletop role-playing games, that's one I would suggest checking out.
Because it's not the fantasy.
It's not, because some people don't like Dungeons & Dragons because they're not into that high fantasy,
high fantasy spells and stuff.
And D&D can get bogged down with a lot of roles.
But this is a
this was a more fast-paced.
Sounds like it's a story-based, fast-paced, horror-based game. And I guess that I'm glad you got to play it, because I've always been interested in learning more about it, and I didn't know anybody that knew anything about it.
Well, I didn't either. And
I'd love to give it a try sometime, because I think it would be fun. In the vein of, like, I've always thought that Vampire the Masquerade would be an interesting thing to learn more about the game, or Werewolf, I think was another one that's gone since then. But I think those are different. And I know we talk a whole lot about Dungeons and Dragons on this because that's what we've done.
Yeah, that's what we've done.
But it's nice. It's really cool that your buddies got together and let you experience that. And there's Wes breaking the fifth wall or whatever with his freaking phone ringing.
It's my dad.
Oh no. Okay. Well, that's acceptable. That's acceptable.
At least it does not work.
But you know what? That's cool, man. Thanks for sharing that, because I think that's really neat.
Really, thanks to Cody for hosting, putting up with us all day. But thanks to Tyler for really getting out and putting together a really good story. Like I said, I want to say it was the 3rd or 4th time that he had run that story, and it's played out different every time. He's had different traps and different things, so that you can't just go in and it's, this is the point where this happens.
Yeah.
But there were some beats that were the same through all of the different iterations of the story. But the fact that
you said beats. I'm sorry. Different beat.
That's one for the YouTube folks.
No. I did get strung on an energy drink this morning, so I almost died.
He's jacked up on Mountain Dew. Yeah. But it was really neat to see, because like talking to him about like things that happened in these other games,
right,
and seeing how people put in similar situations react different. And so it was interesting.
That's really cool, man. And we, again, like we always do in this show, we didn't really have any idea of what we were going to talk about.
No, literally, I just said, hey, this is what I did.
Well, you even titled it "The Ramblin' Nerds Are Back," because I figured it'd be a rambling episode, but actually it's more of a
Call of Cthulhu episode.
Wes answered the Call of Cthulhu. So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
It gave me an idea for, as we're wrapping up here, it's getting close to Halloween. And
this is Halloween.
Yeah, I would love to do an episode about like ghost stories and things like that, and if you've had any kind of ghost story interaction kind of a thing,
we may
and stuff
have
like
to hit
that.
our buddy Alan Miller up, because he does the ghost walk up in La Follette.
Yeah, I would love to do a little bit of something like that. And so if you've got a story and you want to be on the show talking about that sometime this month, reach out to us and we'll get you on the show.
Yeah, figure something out.
Phone call or something like that. Or if you don't feel comfortable with being on the air yourself, you just type up the story and send it to us, and we'll read it for you, because I think it'd be neat. I can read it for you in
radio voice.
Radio voice. But it's all I got. It's literally this. I can't believe we're on YouTube, because this is a face for radio. But
yes, and I have a voice for print.
Yes. Speaking of voice and radio, remember that this is the best podcast in the greater Knoxville area. Worldwide. So just as our new logo says, often imitated, never duplicated, because that's a fact. Seen a lot of stuff pop up, and I wanted to gripe for just a half a second. Seen a lot of things pop up where people are taking what we've done and trying to do their own thing, and I think that's probably a compliment.
Imitation is the sincerest form of
Yeah,
flattery.
and unfortunately, my brain doesn't work that way, so I think
Chad is an angry little man.
no, but anyway, yeah. Seriously though, if you've got ghost stories and stuff, man, I think it'd be fun.
That'd be a
I
good
think it'd be really fun.
Halloween.
I've got a few myself from back in the police days where I ran into some really creepy stuff, and I'm sure Wes has got some stuff too from the mountains.
Yeah, these some you don't talk about.
But I think it'd be cool. So again, if you want a cool read, man, go check out Jumpmaster Press. Kyle's book, Time Assassins, is really fun. Dan Gottlieb's I Am Omega, at the beginning of the end. I know he's got some new stuff coming out too. And as we always say, the Teespring store over there with Wes's shirt, I think it's really awesome because it's our logo, and of course it's awesome.
Yes.
But anyway, hey, thanks for spending time checking us out and listening to us and everything, man.
Like, share, subscribe.
All
that.
those words that you say, and thanks for the folks that were watching on YouTube. I can see the numbers pop up over here, and we have quite a few, so I really appreciate that, man. Talk to us next time. Interact with us. We love that kind of stuff. So until next time, this is the old bald man Chad with Redneck West and his awesome sweatshirt.
Yo.
That was for Wes's character when he tackled the guy.